Would you like to learn in a school that enables you to become great leaders and entrepreneurs with a solid knowledge of India, its people, and its heritage? Would you like to learn in a school that is based on a strong mission to create a change in the society? And lastly, would you like to learn in a school with values and which also gives you a homely feeling rather than an institutional one? As there are very few schools which focus on adolescent girls because this is the exact age where they are pressurized to get married or even drop out of their formal education.
We saw across the country where girls who were highly motivated and also outperforming academically just seemed to be dropping out left and right. And when we asked why this happened, it came largely down to two reasons. Either their families were hit by an economic shock, and so they went into taking up basic employment and had to leave school to support the family. Or on the other hand, there's a concern revolving around marriage. So families are concerned that if these girls are overeducated relative to their peers or to their potential partners, this will pose a problem further down the line.
First opened in 2015, the school has garnered various international recognitions for its unique educational model, its direct focus on adolescent girls, and lastly, the architecture and design of the campus itself. So the school which I'm talking about is none other than the Avasara Academy, a residential school for economically disadvantaged young women near Pune, which was started in the year 2015.
बहुत से ऐसी कठिनाइयाँ होती थी जिसे हमें लड़कर जाना पड़ता था स्कूल, और यहाँ पे सड़क भी होता था लेकिन सड़क में बहुत कीचड़ होती थी जिससे हमारे पैर जाते थे तो धंस जाते थे, पैर निकालने में बहुत कठिनाई होती थी। इस तरह की कठिनाइयाँ हमारे स्कूल जाने में होती थी।
And the task of designing this great learning environment was bestowed upon architect Samuel Barclay, the principal architect of Case Design from Mumbai. The Avasara Academy is a residential school for women that focuses on leadership and social entrepreneurism, and it is one of the first of its kind of secondary schools and a leadership academy that aims to cultivate the next generation of women leaders.
We need the best of the brains in this country.
Self-confidence.
The passion.
It's just about another chance.
The country needs leaders.
As per today, it houses a total of 350 women who live and learn in the campus. So the Avasara Academy is located about 10 kilometers from Pune in the peaceful and green valley of Pallete, which is a part of a large growing township of Knowledge City. The location for this academy seems to be perfect for an educational institution, as Pune is considered one of the educational hub which consists of 9 universities and 100 schools. Architect Samuel Barclay began with the design of this academy back in the year 2013, and the first building was started in 2015. So now the question lies, what was so special about its educational model and how has architecture contributed to its mission? So in today's case study, we would be focusing on various factors such as the design challenges, its unique educational model, the spatial planning, the structural arrangement, its landscape features, the different materials used, the climatic response, and finally the lessons that we need to learn from this case study. So without any further ado, let's get started. And now coming to the design brief, which is the most challenging part in case of this design, which included firstly to design a sanctuary for learning. So basically a home away from home for young women from underprivileged households that could enable them to become great leaders. And second part of the brief included the formal requirements, which included a classroom, a library, some laboratories, kitchen and dining facilities, some dormitories, and some administrative offices. And lastly, above all, the major twist to the story lied in creating a cost-effective solution with a limited budget. So now the most interesting part would be to see how this school has managed to uplift these girls to prepare them for the real world. And before starting on to the actual planning process, let's first understand the vision of the founders of its unique educational model, which has also helped the architect in picking up some nuances, and also which was one of the brilliant moves in involving the architect right from the envisioning phase so that the client and the architect are in sync right from day one. So coming to some key comparative points of the traditional model versus the Avasara model. So firstly, when it comes to the traditional educational model, the syllabus is mostly outdated, but in case of Avasara, it is progressive. And secondly, the traditional or the formal education is mostly based on learning and memorizing things, which is basically known as rote learning. But in case of Avasara, more emphasis is given to peer-to-peer learning. That is, the students not only learn from teachers but also their friends and colleagues. And thirdly, in case of the traditional model, mostly the freedom to decide on various activities or events or conferences is taken by the faculty. But in case of Avasara, the freedom is given to students to decide on various conferences or events or even workshops which would impart them strong leadership skills. And also in the traditional model, the exam results are considered as the marker of achievement, but when it comes to the Avasara model, problem solving and confidence are considered to be the marker of achievement. And most importantly, in the traditional model, it is all about competing, but here it is all about collaborating. And lastly, in the traditional model, more focus is given on quantity over quality, but when it comes to Avasara, it is more qualitative than quantitative. So now, after understanding all of this, it would be interesting to see how these points have got incorporated in the design, and also how has architecture played an important role in incorporating these points in the design. And now coming to the planning of this campus. As the site is located in the green and peaceful valley of Pallete near Pune, it measures about 4.3 acres in total area. And the entire site has a total drop of about 18 meters from one end to another. And the entry to the campus is from the north side into a central courtyard formed by the buildings around it. So in the entire planning of the campus, the two major decisions that have had a profound impact are, firstly, instead of having one large building, the entire campus is broken down into a series of 7 clusters which are arranged in such a fashion which creates a series of informal walkways, pathways, courtyards and gardens between these buildings. And these in-between spaces become spaces for social interaction between the peers, or a space for carrying out rituals or various performances, or merely as a playground or even growing food in the campus. And the second most important call which was taken is that usually in most of the campuses, the residential zone is separated from the academic zone as it is used only in the night times. But in case of this campus, the residential dormitories are located above the academic function. So in all of the buildings, the below 2 floors are for classrooms and the above 2 floors are for dormitories and faculty residences. And the most significant part about this move is that at any given point, each and every part of the campus is active, unlike the traditional planning where the residential zone is inactive in the daytime and the academic zone is inactive in the night time. And also the greatest intangible advantage about this zoning decision was that it helped in establishing strong bonds between the peers, which was one of the reasons before starting on to design this school. And now let's see the micro planning of these buildings where its real simplicity lies. So the building is sliced right in the center to introduce a ventilation shaft that takes in cool air from the UM pipes and circulates it into the classroom to keep the overall environment cool. So the academic floor plate consists of classrooms, administrative offices, washrooms and the large atrium communal space in the center. So the classrooms are smartly arranged on the periphery to take advantage of the stunning views around, with the central open communal space in the center which is used for informal learning, playing or even carrying out various discussions. And as the lower 2 floors are for academic facilities such as the library, the classroom or even the administrative facilities, the upper 2 floors are for dormitories and faculty residences which are surrounded by verandas on both the sides, which acts as a shield against the harsh sun and the rain. So the verandas also act as public spaces for the girls to hang around and enjoy the stunning views of the surroundings or even watch their colleagues from other blocks. Therefore, these public and private spaces collectively intend to give a sense of familiarity and also a sense of intimacy to the young girls living and learning in the campus. And lastly, the entire facade is draped in bamboo screen which is prepared by the local craftsmen, which also protects against the harsh sun. And also the most distinct feature about these buildings is the vibrant paints as against the muted tones of the bamboo and also the grey concrete for the walls. So the walls in the entire institute remain bare showing their honest materiality, and only the ceilings are made to stand out by painting them with various vibrant pastel color shades by one of the famous artists, Malina Bach from Copenhagen. So these ceiling colors really add vibrancy and delight to the space, which allows users to associate a space with a color and also which acts as a wayfinding device. And now these simple steps taken into consideration during the planning have given rise to some of the amazing planning features that need to be highlighted, that have contributed in making this campus a great learning environment. And now coming to the first advantage, that is the build versus the circulation ratio. So usually in most of the buildings, the circulation area is not more than 10% of the total area of that floor plate. But in this case, equal weightage is given to the circulation spaces as well as built classroom spaces, because here the circulation spaces are not merely as circulation, but they have become social hangout spaces. So due to this move, an equal emphasis is given to learning inside as well as outside the classroom. And the pockets in between the classroom, that is central circulation space, acts as a learning space so that when students feel bored in the classroom, they can come out and sit in this space and learn. Therefore, the equal emphasis on the built versus the circulation ratio have really helped in establishing strong bonds between them. And the second important feature is the building design being simple and identical. It offers enormous advantages such as easy construction, the cost of the construction is in control, there is less wastage of resources, and it also enables maximum flexibility. The quality of the project is controlled, and lastly the speed of construction, which is very crucial for any project. And thirdly, as the girls are staying away from their home, due to which they may feel homesick. And to address this issue, the materials and also the furnitures such as the old reclaimed wooden batten doors and windows, the mosaic flooring, and especially the charpai are used to tone down the entire aura and give them a sense of familiarity and comfort, which is just like their home. So the girls living here do not get the feeling of living in a luxurious contemporary building with air conditioning all over, but the luxury and feel of traditional materials, which is an extension to their home. And the fourth important feature is that here the staircase is not merely used as a circulation but also as a social hangout space. As usually staircases are meant for circulation from one floor to another with a specific width, but in this case the width is slightly increased so that they are not only used for circulation but also they become social hangout spaces where girls hang out and even sit around. And also by changing the material of the staircase from solid concrete to steel has added lightness to the entire space, and most importantly it allows light to permeate through it. So before proceeding on, have you noticed the way the plan tends to speak to us in terms of its representation? So it clearly signifies the amount of importance that is given to the landscape in case of this building. So the intricacy with which the plan is drawn on paper, the same intricate details have come out on site in the landscape aspect too. So many a times the landscape of a building is often overlooked or ignored due to budget constraints. But this building truly demonstrates that it's not much about the budget but how carefully we listen to the site what it has to say. Which implies that as the site is sloping, which has a 18-meter drop from the higher end to the lower end, the water is collected at the higher end and it is transported through the entire site by means of channels which are located on the periphery to the entire landscape. So just by gravity, water is circulated from the higher end to the lower end. So these simple steps taken and also the collaboration with the farmers have really helped them establish the sustainability for this project. And the effect of this effort resulted in the food and vegetables that people could grow and eat in the campus. And they have also used a simple reed bed filtration system where all the grey water from the showers as well as the toilets gets reused and recycled for the entire landscape. And it goes way far than that, because as they are doing the landscaping work, they are also involving the school students in them by the means of workshop, which teaches them lessons of sustainability. And now coming to the structural arrangement of this building. So the real beauty of this building lies in the simplicity of its structure, the way it is articulated with simple reinforced concrete with typical column beam construction and post-tension slabs. And due to the post-tension slabs and most importantly slicing the building right in the center to introduce a central shaft reduces the overall spanning of the building. So therefore we get a clear column-free space, thereby reducing the cost and also the spans of RCC. So the central shaft performs a dual function of climate, which we'll talk in the climatic part, and also reducing the spans of RCC structure, which reduces the overall cost of RCC too. And lastly, the strong brutality of the concrete is shown by exposing the RCC floor lines that define the character of this building, with bamboo screens acting as an infill. And now let's look at the material palette, which is an amazing display of different materials through the entire campus. So given the budget constraints, the material choices were comparatively simple, and due to which concrete was chosen as the primary and the most cheapest materials, as it was to be used extensively all throughout the campus, even though it was not a very great environmental solution. And to balance this, the other materials that were chosen were completely recycled and reused, such as the old wooden batten doors and windows were reclaimed from the old schools of Mumbai, or be it the waste from quarries of Rajasthan and Gujarat, or even the woven ropes from the industrial waste of Surat. So even though there was an extensive use of concrete all throughout the campus, some materials were chosen in order to balance or soften the entire concrete. Therefore, it is the real choice of materials that bring the aesthetic quality to the entire campus, which tend to merge with the beige-brown surroundings around. And now coming to the climatic response, which is the heart of this building, and it would be incomplete without the consideration of this aspect. So I request you to pay very close attention to this aspect, as it is one of the most important one in this entire building. So again, due to the budget constraints, the mechanical ventilation system was completely unaffordable, and due to which the climatic engineers came up with a simple solution of earth ducts and solar chimney. So let us first understand very carefully what it is all about. So as we had seen in the planning also, the building is sliced right in the center to introduce a ventilation shaft which sucks out cool air through the solar chimneys on the terrace. So in the foundation below, there are these large hume pipes that draw in cool air, and this air is made even more cooler by planting some plants in front of these pipes. So the cool air is drawn through these pipes and circulated inside the classrooms through the lower ends. So in the entire campus, the cool air enters through the lower ends of the classrooms or even through the windows. And when the cool air is supplied in, it is necessary to suck out hot air. So for this purpose, openings are made on top of the classrooms and also the dormitories, which enter into the central duct. So when the hot air rises from the classrooms and other spaces, it enters the duct through these upper openings, and eventually it is sucked out to the solar chimneys on the terrace. And the most important care that is taken, in spite of using concrete for the floors, which emits a lot of heat, the use of marble mosaics controls that emission of heat from the floors. So in this way, the supply of cool air from the ducts below and the suction of hot air through the solar chimney above creates a comfortable environment inside. And the solar water heaters on the terrace provide hot water for showers, and PV panels supplies electricity for ceiling fans and electric lighting in the building. And all of these simple steps taken have resulted in some mind-boggling numbers, which state that just by eliminating the mechanical systems, the overall construction cost of the building has reduced by 7%, thereby reducing the overall energy cost by almost 80% due to these passive design strategies. So in spite of having high ambitions and moderate budget, the building successfully tends to create a comfortable environment without the use of mechanical systems despite the warm and humid climate. So right from the landscape to the foundation to the superstructure and ultimately to the roof of the building, they are completely net zero energy buildings. And now coming to the last and the most important part of this building, that is, what are the lessons that we need to take back from this iconic case study. So the first lesson that it teaches us is of simplicity. So when going through the entire study of this building, the only one thing that comes to mind is the simplicity, whether be it in the site planning or even the micro planning of each of the block, or even for that matter the sectional part of this building. Hence this proves that you don't always need out of the box ideas or even large budgets to create an impact in the environment that mere simplicity can. And its simplicity does not stop here, but the building plan also has the flexibility to convert it into a museum or an exhibition or even a training center for that matter, to expand through its maximum flexibility. And the second important lesson is the power of collaboration. As the building is a continuous work in progress, therefore attempt is made in involving the girls in the construction as well as the landscaping process to teach them lessons of integrity, efficient use of resources, and lastly working in groups. So the building itself teaches the students, which connects back to the real motto of the founder of teaching them real-time problem solving. And this simple attempt will have a huge impact, creating long-term ripple effects. And thirdly, it is a great cost-effective solution. So what happens most of the times when working on a project with tight budget is that either the quality of construction or the aesthetic look or even the overall impact might get affected. But this project has truly proved that ultimately design is what matters at the end of the day to break free from all the constraints. So this is a prime example of a building that can solve a problem efficiently as well as effectively. So holistically, when you look at the entire building, it is an overall package of visually appealing plus climatically sensitive plus cost-effective solution. And fourthly, it teaches us how to make the best use of waste materials, as all the materials used in this building are completely recycled and reused only at the cost of transportation, be it the waste marble from tile shops and quarries of Rajasthan to create floors which brought in their own varying colors, or walls in fly ash bricks from individual waste, or doors and windows from an old school in Bombay, to the plastic or fabric waste from local industries in Surat. And the most important takeaway from this is that reclaimed materials tend to look more beautiful than the brand new ones. So before going on to the next lesson, just imagine a client comes to you with some strange requirements saying that we want to have a school and the girls learning in this school would be the next change makers. And also the school will employ them with strong leadership and problem solving skills, where the learning will not only be through the teachers but also through their friends. And ultimately it will be a residential school where the girls would be staying away from their home, so they should not feel the sense of discomfort in this campus. Apart from the formal requirements of a typical classroom or a library or even some administrative offices. And the first burning question which will come in your mind is that, can architecture really solve this problem? And if yes, how can architecture solve these? And well, there's an answer to that too. And there's where the brilliance of the architect in this case lies. So the three major decisions that have managed to solve these problems is that, firstly, the classroom furniture arrangement, which enables the students to sit in groups and discuss the problems that are taught by the teachers. And secondly, the communal atrium space ratio. So here the circulation spaces are not only looked upon as circulation but also as learning spaces where the students can come out of the class when they feel bored in the class. And thirdly is the residence above classroom arrangement, where the girls live like a family and not only as classmates.
It's very earthy here, like it feels like home. Like nothing is very artificial and superficial, but everything is natural and reused and recycled.
And all of these simple steps taken have enabled strong social peer-to-peer learning bonds. So just to sum it all in short, this building is not merely a building, but it is an experience that focuses more on impact over commerce. So that's all from my side for today, guys. If you think you learned something valuable from this case study, please do hit the like and subscribe button in order to never miss an update from this channel. And do let me know in the comments what are the top 3 lessons that you learned from this case study.